And we're live. How's it going, ladies and gentlemen? Not your ordinary Tuesday, but we missed a couple of streams already. Wow, 25 people here early. Yeah, live streams have been kind of all over the place, but that's mostly because life's been all over the place and I'm my own boss. So I can decide if I want to do this at random times, but I figured I'd give you a 6 minutes heads up because I am so gracious, aren't I? Anyway, hello, Miles, Matt, Sage, Kenneth, Maddie, Vidir, many random things. Josh, Daniel, Naomi, Sanpal. Hi, everyone. How's it going this evening? Yeah, it's been a crazy week for the tech channel in general. For one, not wearing a Tailosive shirt. I know, it's crazy. But yeah, you don't want to reuse those shirts too much. In fact, I've got some new Tailosive merch because I don't get a discount even though it's my merch. Spreadshirt does all the work, so I have to pay the same price you guys do for all these shirts. And I bought them like a week ago, and they were supposed to get here today, and they never got here. So yeah, I don't know. Maybe they'll get here tomorrow. They must be delayed or something. It's very hot, which is definitely annoying. Whoa, we got someone named David DeFranco who's got a check mark in the chat. Says, "Props for standing your ground, dude. I love your perspective on things." Thank you, David. Yes, yeah. In relation to standing my ground, no kidding. It's been an interesting past week between the Linus Tech Tips types video and the countless responses I got from that. I'll be completely honest with you. I This sounds fake, I know, and a lot of people say I knew what I was doing, but in all honesty, I really did not expect the amount of backlash or response. Not just backlash. I always expect backlash just because I'm an Apple sheep. So whenever I upload, I expect that. Um, Whenever that happens, I expect that. But the amount of responses from other YouTube channels was crazy. The amount of people who responded to yeah, all of that Linus Tech Tip situation. But yeah, it was apparent to me that a lot of people weren't getting what I was saying on that subject, and I was much more focused on just trying to make it an Apple Sheep ranty video. And clearly, much more people wanted an actual legitimate sit-down response. And then when I did that, a lot more people understood and got the point. So yeah, glad I redid that and clarified some things because personally, my opinion didn't change at all over the course of the week. It just um, how do I say this? It needed to be formulated in a more professional manner because the first time I did it, it was more joking, more sarcasm. Clearly, people didn't like that, so then we changed it to be more serious, and that appeared to work out pretty good. Okay, let's get into some chats here. I think you're the only tech reviewer that actually gives opinions and good facts behind things, not all super, oh, this chip has speed of this, while this one has speed of... Well, and the thing is, everyone can look that up. Anyone can look up tech specs. So why should I just repeat the same tech specs to you? Would that be helpful? I don't know. Anyway, first super chat of the evening comes from Aiden. Thank you. Says, would you like a S9 hardware in stock Android? You can't deny that there would still be a couple problems. So for one, I think the fingerprint reader placement is definitely a little awkward, especially when it's bundled together with the camera. That confuses people. The Bixby button would still be there. So even if you got stock Android on the S9, which is not hard to do, Android fans everywhere have modified their Android phones. They're very modifiable, if that's a word, customizable, as they would say. So you can root your Android phone and get it to look the way you want it to. But still, I don't know. I don't think I would be that interested in an S9. Even if it had stock Android, the sucky part of the S9 definitely is a lot of the Samsung bloatware on it, but I don't think that's the only problem. A lot of it is also still the hardware. You'd still have the issue of the iris scanner, the face scanner being sometimes they work and sometimes they don't. So yeah, it's not an easy answer. I don't think the bloatware is the only problem the S9 has. B. Roy super chatted, no comment, but I appreciate it. Thank you. Do you think that security will evolve past Face ID anytime close to soon? No, because the Touch ID sensor kind of came out with the iPhone 5S, and we're still using that. We're still implementing that day to day. So it's not like biometrics come out real briefly and then go away again. So yeah, no, I think we're going to get more and more perfected versions of Face ID more and more as time goes on. Getting it to work from more angles, getting it to work from further away, getting to be more specific about it. So I think Face ID is going to be around for a while, figuring out how to embed that underneath the display so that it's not as intrusive. So yeah, there's a lot of different ways that could go. Anyway, Eric from Creator of the Week says, my first live chat with you, can't stay around long. Thank you, Eric. I appreciate that though. Anytime you guys helps me support what I do, and you don't have to super chat. Oh boy, Front Page Tech made it back. He said, hey, Drew, just wanted to send you a weekly reminder that I definitely hate you and I've totally have zero respect for you, and you suck. Well, thanks for the money, Front Page Tech. I appreciate it. Trevor Johnson says, I have an iPhone SE. Should I upgrade to a 6S Plus or 7? Personally, I'd say, wait, you're about to get a new SE. If you like that SE, don't get a 6S Plus or 7 right now. You're just right next to an SE refresh. And I'm much more curious to see how that's going to go. And that'll likely come out in June. So hang tight, Trevor. Just wait a little bit longer. Anyway, now we got a comment from B. Roy who said, would you want Apple to merge iOS and macOS? No, I think there's a reason Apple hasn't done that yet. And it's probably because there's not a good way to do it. So, yeah, Tim Cook, I believe, commented on this recently, and he said, if we were to merge macOS and iOS, you would have to be compromising on something. And I think the Surface Books are kind of an example of that. They're very, very expensive laptops. They're good laptops, but they're very pricey and kind of weird tablets that can't charge themselves. And the Surface Pro is also a good example. So when you go for a jack of all trades, you definitely get that master of none. So that's why I wouldn't recommend it. And Apple typically waits to do things until they can perfect them. So the fact that Apple hasn't done it yet probably means there's not a good way to do it at this time. Maybe that'll change someday. Who knows? Kieran Dial super chatted. Thank you very much. iHunter says, did you complete the Earth Day activity channel? I did, and made a video on my tech YouTube channel, iHunter. Yes, I did. Let me look real quick. I can bring that up. I got it last year as well. I got a lot of achievements growing in the activity app. And yeah, there's the 2018 one. So I got it for Earth Day, which was good. It's cool how I like the achievement things. That's a cool thing, because originally I was like, achievements, that's for gaming and stuff. But then I realized, but gaming, you're just playing the game. This you're actually like working out. That's in other words, more of an accomplishment. I don't know. It depends on who you ask, I guess. But anyway, Ardalan Am says, Asus made Zenfone Zoom a few years ago, and it's still the only phone with optical zoom. Do you think Google would do this to keep it a single camera? That's an interesting idea, Ardalan, that because Google's very keen on the idea, but Google's not as stubborn, I would say. Usually Google sticks with one way and says, no, this is the way, and then they change their mind and end up caving anyway. Samsung, if they were very keen about keeping the single lens setup, could do that, but Google changes their mind all the time about stuff. So, between the headphone jack and between, well, we have this aluminum premium feel in the back. Never mind. Let's make it plastic, but not add Qi charging. So they're kind of all over the place with the Pixel lineup. So I think the Pixel 3 is going to have a dual camera, but maybe there's a reason the optical zoom on smartphones is not catching on. There could be a reason for it. I think partially it may be, maybe it's too expensive to manufacture. Maybe it's too dangerous to put in a phone because it breaks very easily or something. Like, there's probably a reason the really huge smartphone companies aren't adapting that. I'm guessing there's a reason. I'm not sure what it is, though. Okay, Dylan super chatted, who is now the king of super chat so far. Dylan, congratulations. You are now the biggest super chatter of the evening. So press F to pay respects to Dylan. He says iPhone 10 Plus or new iPhone 10. I liked how he wrote the number 10 with plus and then the X for 10. I'm personally go with 10 Plus because I love this form factor. I like big phones, and I cannot lie. But to have that bezel-less display on the front with Face ID and gesture controls on a device this large would be really, really, really cool. So I'm looking forward to that. S says, S is our next super chatter, who says, Drew, I don't agree with your stance on Apple marketing. It's all about appealing to the feels. Example, beer commercial advertising them being cold. S. Yeah, but like you don't buy beer once a year. Beer's something that you like, ooh, that sounds good. Let's go get a beer. No one's like, ooh, that sounds good. Let's go buy iPhones, right? They're two very different types of advertising. Apple products, usually of their category, you buy once a year. Typically, with a few exceptions, of course, you buy one iPhone a year or one Apple Watch a year. And some people aren't even that fluent. Most people probably lie more to 2 to 3 years they buy an Apple product. So Apple products are a lot more expensive in the first place, which means that when you're making an ad about them, I think it's really important that you make them persuasive. They have to be convincing. Um, I get what you're saying though about like, wow, look at these people enjoying a beverage, but the problem is Apple's going against the competition, which is not taking that marketing strategy. They're taking the marketing strategy of persuasive, as in your iPhone can't do this, this, and this. That's why you should get the Galaxy. That's going to change people's minds. And when they see someone grab an app off of a shelf and explode in their face, they're not like, yeah, you're right. My Android phone sucks. I'm gonna get rid of it and switch to an iPhone. It's just not very convincing. Anyway, Luke Albert super chatted says my coworkers at Apple talked about your vid yesterday. Oh, great. Hopefully good things. We'll find out. But thank you. Anyway, next super chat was from Front Page Tech, who said 110% sarcasm. Love you, Drusif. Thank you. Thank you, John. I appreciate it. B. Roy says, will you review the Fitbit Versa? So I've seen a couple things about the Fitbit Versa, but I honestly don't think it would be that interesting of a review because I like my Apple Watch too much. Maybe there's something there, but previously when I would try to review things that weren't Apple Watches, those videos didn't do very well. So reviewing Android phones, while I have high doubts that they would ever make me want to ditch my iPhone again, but smartwatches is almost no competition. The Apple Watch is so far ahead of everyone else, both in sales and in customer satisfaction. So yeah, you and everything Apple Pro should do interview like you did with MKBHD. I wanted to, but he didn't seem too interested. He never contacted me directly, but I didn't make comments on his videos, but other people who watched my videos were making comments on his videos, and he wanted them to he wanted them to stop commenting about me because he would rather have comments that were focused on the video. And keep in mind, guys, you don't want to force YouTubers to collaborate. If you want a collaboration to happen, I think you want it to be, consensual. You want both parties to be like, yeah, let's do this. Let's make this happen. So if he's not interested in doing a collab, I'm not going to pressure him. Doesn't matter. It's not that important. We don't need to force people to. Anyway. Derek Wilson is our next super chat, who said, what Apple Watch face do you use most of the time? I like the jellyfish. That's a really good one. I do like the jellyfish. Right now I'm using time lapse, which is really cool. Mostly because I know that later this year, the Series 4 is going to come out and potentially have thinner bezels along the side. And I think if I have a watch face that uses every pixel on the screen, when I switch to the Series 4 and the display is larger, the lack of bezels will be much more noticeable because I'll be used to this layout of bezels and display. So that's why I have the time lapse. But yeah, they're all very good. And if it is true that they're going to get third-party watch faces on watchOS, that's going to be interesting. We're going to widen our horizon a lot more. One Viper says, the captain of Team Apple says, hello, sorry about that Twitter goofiness earlier. Wasn't trying to get your Twitter blowed up. Don't worry about it. My Twitter is always blown up with something, and I'm fine with it. It's as easy as closing the app. So, but yeah, thank you for super chatting. I appreciate it. Very good. Anyway, thoughts on Huawei laptop with camera and function, bro? Oh, I think that's just an awkward place to put it. It feels very tacked on, but I mean, most webcams are tacked on. But how would you feel if the webcam on my iMac was down at the bottom? So that would make I can give you an example of what that would look like. Okay. So imagine if I talked to you guys like this, and that's how I spoke, because the webcam would be a lot lower. I just don't think it would be as cool. So I'm kind of okay with webcams being at eye level opposed to down at the bottom for the sake of aesthetics. I don't know if it's that worth it, but yeah. I'm sure you were the popular kid in high school. Is this true? Not really. I was never very prideful about my school. Like I never dressed up for Spirit Week, or I never really cared about the sports teams. I never played any sports. I never really represented my school in many ways, except I was the video guy. So I would film the football games. I would film the volleyball games. I would have to film the soccer games. Basically, every sport team I had to film. I never played in any of them, but I had to film them and make them look good, which was difficult because back in Orville, my high school was famous for being one of the worst football teams of all time. Las Plumas was not when I was there, but one year they lost like 75-0. It was bad. And I had to somehow make that team look good. And I did. and everyone loved the videos I made there. So I considered myself a good job. If you can make a sucky sports team look good. Anyway, Kristen super chatted says, "Is a Series 1 Apple Watch a good purchase still?" Maybe. I think we're getting to the point where, Apple Watch Series 3 was in September. Now it's April, approaching May. You might want to hold off on buying an Apple Watch about now, but if you do get one, go refurbished or go used. Don't buy it directly from Apple because you could get one for a lot cheaper than you would a brand new one from Apple. Um, and when you're like halfway through the cycle on this, you kind of want to be careful about where you make your investment. So if you are going to go Series 1, at least go refurbished or at least look on used. You can find them on like Facebook yard sale for really, really cheap. I found some Apple Watches on Facebook yard sale for like, excuse me, they costed like 130 or 120. Eagle Tech 77 super chatted, says, "Hey Drew, if you had to choose to keep one, would you choose Apple Watch or AirPods? Also, would you consider switching to any other color Apple ecosystem?" So yeah, if it thank you for blessing me, by the way. Thank you very much. If it were up to Apple Watch or AirPods, the Apple Watch is on you all the time, so that's why I would keep that. AirPods I do not use constantly. They're very nice. However, the Apple Watch is something that you use all day, not part of the day. And then switching to another ecosystem, I would say I'm planning on if the new iPads this year have a black bezel on the front, I'm going to switch to silver. I'd like to get the 10 Plus Silver Edition. I want to get the iPad Pro in silver. It looks really, really good on the iPhone 10. So I'm excited to kind of make that switch over because I've been doing space gray for as long as I can remember, and I'm kind of ready for a switch up. And on top of that, I mean, I'm in product red right now, so it's not like my ecosystem's completely even across everything. Besides, there's like 9 different versions of space gray in the first place. Anyway, next super chat, who is tied for Dylan. So now it's Dylan and Zach Talks Tech are all tied for top super chat. Says, "Hey Drew, last week's was fun. iMac Pro ad/sponsor thing. I'm glad we could keep all the comments respectful and discussion going. We may not always agree, but I enjoy watching your content." Thank you, Zach. I appreciate that very much. Yeah, it's definitely not about getting everyone to agree. I think that's more of a mainstream YouTuber thing that I'm not as into. Trying to get every person that you make a video about to agree with you, I think is quite silly, to be honest. It's like just being like, I'm going to make a video about my thoughts on this, and hopefully I don't tick anyone off. I personally love topics that are decisive. In fact, I love the Linus Tech Tips topic because that was one that clearly a ton of people were really, really against me for. And what I loved about it was we weren't talking about things that are indifferent when it comes to making tech videos. I feel like a lot of the time when tech YouTubers are making content, they're like, "Ooh, I love this background. Ooh, I love the lighting. Ooh, I love this aspect ratio." We weren't talking about the production value of the video. We were talking about a topic that I had an opinion on. You guys didn't like that opinion, and we were battling it out. That's really neat, and that's what I prefer having personally. I love having those types of debates. I don't want to talk about color correction or resolutions or frame rates the whole time. It's like other YouTube channels, big ones that don't really have much interesting to say, just resort to really, really cool shots, and they are good shots. I'm not saying they're bad filmmakers. They're amazing filmmakers for the amount of footage they're able to put in their iPad and iPhone reviews, but why are we watching the video? Is it to talk about tech or is it to see how good of a cinematographer you are? So that's why I like having those types of discussions. And you notice it wasn't 80%, 90% like or dislike. It was pretty split down the middle. Obviously, it started leaning more towards dislikes. I know that. I can see the chart, but there were plenty of YouTubers that also started agreeing with me. So yeah, on top of that, it was very interesting to see that play out. And I'm very grateful that many of you could handle that respectfully and go, you know what? I disagree with Drew. Drew looks like an idiot, but I'm going to be respectful and see what he has to say and hear him out. Anyway, I'm getting behind on Super Chats. I'm sorry. I'm going to catch up here. B-Roy says, "Should Apple make a product red MacBook Pro?" I think kind of the point of product red is that it's exclusive. So if they did it on everything, and maybe it wouldn't work too much. But to answer your question, yeah, it would look really, really cool. But I mean, you kind of want to make it special, right? You don't want to make it a normal thing. I don't know. Michael, I believe, is now the new record at a Canadian $20.99. So thank you very much for that. Says, So Michael, press F to pay respects for Michael. Thank you very much. Says, hello from Winnipeg, Manitoba, Canada. Do you think you'll get the gold 10 plus? What do you think of Apple maybe adding a third camera? Go Jets go, whatever that means. But thank you. Yes, I appreciate it. Oh my God, I'm falling behind. Okay. Yeah, I think I need to do a video on the third camera setup because so many people seem to have ideas on what that's going to be, mostly because of the Huawei P20 Pro. So everyone's like, what's Apple's third camera going to be? Keep in mind, it's just a rumor. We don't know for sure if this is going to happen, but I liked everything Apple Pro's video about all the different methods Apple could take to how they would arrange having three cameras on the back of the phone. That was really interesting. I like that kind of video. So some point in the next week, I'll probably make a video on that, how they could do it or what the third lens would do. Would it be telephoto? Would it be monochrome? Not sure. But yeah, thank you for your support. And I don't think I'll get the gold 10 plus. I've never been much of a gold guy, but I like silver. After looking at the silver iPhone 10, I kind of was like, that's a good color. I like that color, especially with the black bezels. As long as we have black bezels, I'm in. If we have white bezels, no, I'm out. That's how you lost me. Anyway, Joel Wilson donated, says, hey, Drew, do you ever find it difficult to keep making content every single day? How hectic is your work day? It's not that bad, Joel. I think personally, a lot of people over exaggerate how hard it is to make YouTube videos. It's more about being smart with your time than it is putting in more time. And a lot of people will disagree with me on this, but I'm known for causing controversy. But I'll tell you my method to madness, which is just everything ever since I started making YouTube videos has been about efficiency. How fast can I film this? How fast can I edit this? How fast can we get it up? How fast can we produce this content and not waste too much time on things that people won't notice or care about? So I try to make the best use of my time possible. And that's how I'm able to create so much. And it's, keep in mind, guys, it's not just on tech. Like we're posting daily videos now, nearly daily videos on Tailosive Talks with the vlogging channel. Please check that out if you haven't. Now we're trying to get back into gaming because gaming, we're waiting on YouTube to monetize it. We're completely qualifiable and we're waiting for them to get back on to us. But on the gaming channel, I'm uploading more and more videos. We got more and more stuff filmed. After this live stream, we're going to publish a video on Tailosive movie reviews about Infinity War and what we think that movie might be like. So we're posting all kinds of content with that mentality of how efficient can we be and how quick can we get things to go up. And it's not stressful, to be honest. There's other things in life to be more stressful than this. I'm personally just extremely grateful that this can be my job because it was a dream for a long time. You guys super chatting, you guys watching, you're the ones allowing me to live out my dream, which is amazing. And I'm so happy to be doing this that stress rarely enters the mind. Even if you get 4,000 dislikes on a video, you're still like, wow, people are watching me. people enjoy this type of content. Well, even if they disagree, they're still invested is the word. They want to watch and they want to know what I'm wrong about and they want to tell me what I'm wrong about and then get in the comment wars. But still, it's really, really fun. What would you do if Linus came on and started ranting? Oh my God, I'd be amazed by it. You know, a lot of people assume that if a large YouTuber started attacking me, I would get scared or timid about it. I love it. Just any form of acknowledgement. Like iJustine has tweeted at me with not nice things to say, and Unbox Therapy has tweeted at me with unnice things to say. And it's the best thing in the world. Just being like, oh my God, we're having a conversation. It's not like I like to tick people off. It's just that form of acknowledgement from a channel of that size is just like, oh my God, I took some of your time out of the day so that we could battle out a slight discussion. You know, just the tiny bit of time, the fact that they gave me a tiny bit of their day to hold a conversation, to hold a debate is fascinating. And I love it. So yeah, I would personally love it if Linus came in here and started ranting at me. That would be great. Anyway, Turbo Pikachu 10 or X says, I've never had a Mac before, but I have many iOS devices. Would a late 09, mid 10 polycarbonate MacBook be a good choice for a first-time Mac owner? I mean, not if you want to know what having a Mac is all about, because the beautiful thing about buying a Mac is that you unbox it, it sets up, and it works, and it lasts you a long time. So if you're buying an 8 to 9-year-old Mac, it's probably not going to give you that same experience. But if you can get one for really cheap, I guess. But no, I'm not going to say it's a good choice for a first-time Mac owner. Imagine if I was like, I've never owned a Windows laptop, but I'm thinking about getting one from 2009. Would that be good for a first-time Windows user? It's like, well, Kinda, but not now because it's probably not all Windows 10 optimized and whatnot. But yeah, but thank you, by the way, Turbo Pikachu. Ben Labry says, "Do you think MacBook 12-inch 2018 will have two USB-C and real i5 i7 processors like the Huawei MateBook 10 has done in 2017? Also fanless." That would be really interesting. I'd be kind of surprised if they were able to cram that much power into a 12-inch MacBook because it appears that the purpose of that MacBook is to just be as light as and portable and underpowered as possible so that it can have a decent battery life. But yeah, I'd be shocked if they were able to do it the Huawei could with the MateBook. But I really hope so. I would be kind of surprised if they were adding two USB-C ports. That's not. It is what I want to happen. I really want there to be two USB-C, and I want there to be i5 and i7 processors. But I just feel like I feel like that you're wishing for too much. So I'm just going to say expect the worst, hope for the best, and we'll see what happens in June. But Colin says, "Do you think I should get AirPods now or should I wait till June?" Crap, YouTube's thing is broken. Okay, love your videos, by the way. Thank you, Colin. So personally, when it comes to AirPods, here's my answer because a lot of people are wondering if they should wait for the wireless charging version. Um, if you have an Apple Watch Series 3 and an iPhone 8 or 10, those are the only things that would make the AirPower mat worth it. The only reason to wait for the wireless charging AirPods is if you're buying AirPower, which means that if you don't have a Series 3 Apple Watch or you don't have an iPhone 8 or 10, go ahead and buy AirPods now. You'll love them. You don't need to wait for the wireless charging pair. If, however, you have a Series 3 watch and or an iPhone 8 or 10, then you might want to wait for AirPower to come out, and then you can get the supporting AirPowers, which would be cool. Anyway, okay, scrolling down to the next super chat from Jonathan Honeywell, who says, "Will dark mode be on iOS 12 since it's on Mac OS?" I mean, there's kind of dark mode. It's not like a UI universal, but I don't know. I feel like Apple's kind of looking at the smart invert as true dark mode, and they're probably not going to design a whole UI specifically just for dark mode because aesthetically it might not look as good as what you're imagining it's going to look, but I don't know of all the things they could add in iOS 12. So they might just add it because they're running out of features they can add to iOS in total. So let's just say, Jonathan, we'll really hope so, but I feel like we've been asking for a dark mode ever since iOS 8. This will have dark mode 9. This will have dark mode 10. This will have dark mode. Everyone's been wanting dark mode for a long time. We never gotten it. That's why when people ask me, I'm like, probably not. They're probably just going to leave it. Kristen McAllister says, "Good phone, no need. I don't get the Pixel." Yeah, really. The no need thing has been great. I'm honestly quite excited for the next Pixel event because we get to see what the next excuse is for not having features from Google. Oh, someone, let's see. Alexander Garlock's the next super chat. He says, "Haven't done it in a while, just helping out. Keep up the great work." Alexander, thank you very much. I appreciate it. You guys are what's helping this channel grow. Your guys. So we've actually got a new record holder for this live stream super chat. Harry Bubblegum at $25 super chats. Thank you very much, Harry. Everyone press F to pay respects to Harry. Let's see what he had to say. But that, of course, was after someone named R super chatted, but they retracted their message. Let's see what Harry has to say. "Just discovered you, so to speak, within the last 2 weeks, and simply rather enjoy the intelligence portrayed in your videos. And it's nice to see someone locally doing so as well. Keep up the good work." Oh, I almost lost it. "Keep up the good work." Thank you very much, Harry. I appreciate that very much. And I understand, yeah, we got a lot of new subscribers, and I'm glad you guys somehow find me intelligent because a lot of people after the Linus Tech Tips video definitely did not find me intelligent, but I'm glad that some people understood it. The Life of Luke Raposo super chatted. Thank you very much. No comment, but I appreciate it. All right. Next super chat is from Renan Valer, who says, "Do you think iPod 7th gen will happen, A10 or A9? There's several reasons why I don't think there will be an iPod 7th generation. Mostly because, look, the last iPod Touch doesn't even have Touch ID, okay? Apple discontinued the iPhone 5S. Apple discontinued the iPhone 6, both of which had Touch ID, but they no longer make them. The iPod Touch doesn't even have that. The idea that they would keep going with that lineup whatever it would be, it wouldn't be as good as an iPhone, and it would probably damage sales if they did upgrade it. So they're probably not going to. I think if anything, in June we're going to see an actual discontinuation of the iPod entirely. I think that will be a significant moment, but I think it's obvious that it's inevitable. That's going to happen, whether you like it or not. Kristen super chatted again. He said, Pixel 3, no need. The memes are amazing. They are amazing. Gotta love memes. Oh no, another stainless steel iPod. No, of course we're going to get a A12 chip on our next iPod with Face ID, no notch, bezel-less display, OLED, 7-inch display. Yeah, it's going to be great. The next iPod Touch. It's going to be sick. Anyway, what do you think is the future of the iTunes store? Feels kind of dated. It does for music, but not for movies and TV. They haven't really created some kind of, I don't know, Netflix competitor to compete with that yet. But so yeah, I'm not sure if that'll go anywhere. But anyway, we got a next super chat, and you guys have priority. So OG Bobby Johnson says, what would be your feelings about the Pixel if it had the essential phone's hardware but kept the Pixel's camera? Well, that sounds nice because the Pixel's camera is the best part of it. Okay, essential phones hardware. Does that mean it starts at the same price? Because you can get essential phones for $450, which I've mentioned. If the Pixel 2 started at $500, it would be a totally different story. If they took the resemblance of we are a budget phone, the lack of features would make total sense. And I'd be like, wow, you get a really good camera, you get a fast charger, and a pretty decent build for a budget phone. That would make total sense to me. The fact that they charge flagship prices for it is what makes me despise it. Is it's like you're supposed to be alongside the Galaxies and the iPhones. So yeah, that's one of my biggest issues with the Pixel 2. But yeah, if it was at a budget price point, another reason Essential Phone doesn't have wireless charging. Essential Phone doesn't come with headphones. But it is very affordable, and you get pretty good specs out of that. 128 gigs, fairly bezel-less display, a very premium feel and build. That's what Essential really got right, was those build qualities. So yeah, I mean, to get really cool features in an Android phone at a budget price, that makes a good Android phone. But when you have some premium features, but not a lot of flagship features that other companies are adopting, and you charge flagship price, that's when I get upset. That's when I'm like, this is stupid. I don't get this. Anyway, we got a very long name, super chat, beginning man, X44, whatever, says revival of 17-inch MacBook. Have you guys ever used the 17-inch MacBook Pro? That was a thing. That was crazy. That thing is huge. It had an extra USB port on the side, so no, I don't I don't think that's going to happen, but wouldn't it be funny though? Can you imagine today, like in 2018, if Apple made a 17-inch MacBook? What kind of specs would that have? That was a huge laptop. But yeah, it was I can see why they discontinued that. It probably, keep in mind, it would also probably start at a higher price, given, I think, see, when I got my 15-inch MacBook Pro, which I just sold, by the way, when I got my 15-inch MacBook Pro, it was like $2,000 starting price. Now I think it's 24. Excuse me. Yeah, it starts at 24. So if they have a 17-inch one, what would that start at? Like $2,800 with a Xeon chip? That would be dope, man. A Xeon Mobile. My goodness. How about red AirPods? Okay, yeah, that would look kind of cool, I'll admit. Oof. Let me see. It would have 3 fans. Oh, that would be kind of interesting. Literally, like 3 people who like the MacBook and also 3 fans on the inside, like 2 up here, then 1 down here, just because of how hot all that would get. Man, that would be crazy. Why is iOS 12 a stability-focused update? What happened to iOS 11 that caused there to be so many glitches? So, of course, iOS 12 being a stability update is not verified. We don't know that until Apple clarifies it, but I don't think they'll do that. I think it's a bad idea to release an iOS update and say the point of this one is to get rid of bugs, because now anytime there is a bug, it's going to be exponentially criticized. Everyone's going to be like, oh my God, I thought the point was that there weren't any bugs. It depends on who you ask if iOS 11 has been a bumpy experience, because I've met people like John or Paul who have said that like their phone crashes all the time and iOS 11 made their phone unusable. But then I talked to people like Sam on iUpdate OS and me, and we never had any problems with iOS 11. There was an occasional software glitch where something wouldn't show up, but nothing catastrophic. So depending on who you ask, it was good or bad. But I think that's only because iOS 11 is being stretched to do more and more things. You have more and more people that are just focused on designing the new iPad support of iOS 11 between the multiple app split screen and the dock. And that's so drastically different than the mobile version. And now we have, iPhone 10s, and that iOS has to be designed that way alongside the iPhone 8 and 8 Plus and alongside the iPhone SE. And it's just iOS 11 is this one operating system that had to stretch across so many different kinds of devices that I think that just means that there's less people working on each category. And when that happens, yeah, things get left behind. But I will say, though, I have never experienced iOS 11 to be so bad that it was worse than Android. I've experienced far more bugs and far more issues with Android than I've experienced with iOS 11, or maybe not even bug fixes, just things Android does that doesn't make sense. I don't get it. Yeah. So it's never been one to make me convince otherwise. I have not had as bad as an experience as a lot of other people have described. So yeah, I'm not seeing it. Let's see. iOS 11 is way too ambitious is one idea from Dragon. Yeah, I think they were trying to do a lot of things at once, and maybe even Apple doesn't have the crew to support it. That could be it. I'm not sure. Not everyone makes weird combinations that crashes their phone. That could be part of it, especially if you're everything Apple Pro and you're trying to find every little software bug and you keep doing it over and over again. That might cause software glitches. Maybe if you just use the phone the way it's supposed to be used, there's less problems, but yeah, there's people going both ways. I thought iOS 11 was fine, though, as Stevenson says. There's definitely some people who didn't have any problems with it. Thoughts on Android P gestures? Well, it makes sense, but I mean, I'm sure someone in the chat's going to say Android had gesture control long before iOS. So there's no point in claiming that they copy each other because they all do. All tech companies copy each other, but the difference is iOS 11 and with the iPhone 10 having gesture controls, that's going to be on a high percentage of iOS devices. Android P is not going to be on a high percentage of Android devices. That's going to be on 5% of Android devices in a year because Android Oreo, the last year's version, is only on 5% of all of Android. Ryan Taylor says, sound quality of AirPods versus the regular Apple EarPods. Personally, I don't notice any difference. I've compared them. I've taken them out and put in AirPods, and I can't hear any difference. But I've had other people, tell me that they find AirPods to be slightly more bassier. So you might want to watch another YouTuber's video on that because personally, I think they sound the same, and I like that. So I personally love the Lightning EarPod sounds. So switching to AirPods was just a seamless, much more easier transition to me because it was just my EarPods, but without cords, and I like those a lot. iOS does this wrong, Android does this worse is not an answer. I mean, it kind of is an answer because I can say that iOS 11 had problems. I'll admit that. It had software glitches that obviously were very bad for a lot of people. But my point is that doesn't mean you should switch away from the iPhone because I think you're going to experience just as many problems, if not more, with Android. Because Android's, I think, in terms of features, even more ambitious. And it appears that as soon as companies add more features or they want their OS to do more, that's when more glitches show up. So Android has more features. Well, maybe that's why no one runs the latest version. Joshua Maxwell says, should I buy the iPhone 10 or wait for the 2018 iPhone 10 Plus? P.S. I'm an Android user right now, but I had a iPhone 5S in the past. Let's see. So yeah, I have a hard time recommending you buy an iPhone 10 right now. That's kind of late in the game. That's kind of pretty late in the season. So unless you can find a good deal on one, like on Facebook yard sale earlier today, some people were selling iPhone 10s in fairly good condition. Like the display wasn't cracked for like $650. So I don't know if I'd buy a brand new one right now. If you can wait, go ahead and wait because we're not too far away from the new iPhone. But P.S. I'm an Android user right now, but I had an iPhone 5S in the past. Yeah, so it's been a while for you. Anyway, we've got a big old super chat. Everyone not pray, but press F to pay respects to Bradley Niles, but has some not so nice things to say about Siri. So let's see. Hello Siri says, read reminders. 1, she will not read them in order. 2, she will only read 25 reminders max. I have 82 reminders. ... Need fixed. Wow. Thank you very much, Bradley, for your tremendous support. That's very grateful. But let's answer your question now. So I have never been a person to have 82 reminders, to be honest. That is crazy. I mean, is that normal? Maybe it is, but I suppose I just don't use digital assistants as avidly as maybe other people do. I'm sorry about that. If I could design Siri, I would fix that for you. But yeah, I'm not in charge of that. So okay, but she won't read them in order. That is kind of weird. I guess I haven't tried doing that. I don't set like a crap ton of reminders, but 25 reminders seems like a pretty good number to me. I can't see, how can you need 82 reminders but remember to make a reminder every time? See, one thing that Google Assistant doesn't do that I'm glad Siri does is like when I say wake up, it could be late at night, it could be midnight, and I'll be like, set my alarm for 5. It'll be like, do you want 5 a.m. or 5 p.m.? And the Google Home Max doesn't answer me that. It'll just assume that I mean 5 a.m. or 5 p.m. But Siri actually asks and then it decides. So there's a couple things Siri can do better, but I understand Google Assistant applies to more situations. So yeah, maybe spend a little less time making reminders and just actually do the things you're reminding yourself to do. 82. That's like, there's 24 hours in a day. Is that like 3 to 4 reminders an hour? That's crazy. Anyway, though, thank you for the massive super chat, Bradley. That's extremely generous of you. I appreciate it. I hope you meant to send that much, but still, yeah, thank you for that very much. I have never met someone to make that many reminders. That is a lot. What app do you use on your iPad for your tech thumbnails? So if you want to see me making my tech thumbnails, please subscribe to Tailosive Talks, because on the vlogs on there, we talk about that and we show that. But it's an app called Over on the App Store. It's not free, but it's a really good app, and it especially works really well with the Apple Pencil. Really enjoy watching and listening to you. Stitch from Android to Apple, switch from Android to Apple last month. I find your videos really informative. For a first-time Apple user, I'm actually starting to enjoy my iPhone more. Good, Rainey. I'm glad you like that. All I'm doing is recommending things. I'm not saying that if you use Android, I hate you. Lots of people in my family use Android, and I love them because they're my family. But at the same time, yeah, I really enjoy using this ecosystem of products. I really enjoy using my iPhone and such. But all I'm doing with this channel is saying, I'm really enjoying this. I hope you enjoy it as well. And if you do enjoy it, great. If you don't enjoy it, then don't switch. There's some people on Twitter who just say, I'm not going to buy that, or I'm not going to buy this. That's stupid. And I go, well, don't. It's that simple. Or if you don't like Apple, like, I don't know, if you don't like Apple products and you don't like talking about them, why are you following me on Twitter? Or why are you subscribing to me? I don't know. Let's see. Lots of questions. Vlog, not blog. Exactly. Yes, I am still. Some people are asking what I just seen said. Guys, this was years ago. This was a long, long time ago. It was. What was it about? I don't even remember. But you could probably search for a long time. Do you live near the patio of Oroville? The patio of Oroville, like. Is there like an outdoor section to Oroville? But Oroville is outdoor. Oh, I think there's a restaurant called the Patio back in Oroville. No, my apartment's pretty far from the patio. I haven't gone there in years. I think I went there in like 2016, but yeah, they're kind of expensive. No, I don't go there. I spend most of my time here in Chico anyway, so. Okay, it is a restaurant. Thank you. All right. Yeah, I haven't gone there in a long time. They're kind of pricey. Can you? I don't really know much about the success in Chipgate. I'm sorry, Pinecone. You play Fortnite? Not very much. I don't game very often, but if I am, it's because it's on the gaming channel. So if you want to see me game, subscribe to Tailosive Gaming, because that's when it goes down. She said no need to watch more than 10 minutes of a podcast. Oh, is that what she said? I don't remember. That was years ago. I think that was like, I just even responded back when I went to the patio. Anyway. Yeah, Chico's a pretty nice city. It's got a lot more stuff than Oroville. There's a lot more stuff. Like Best Buy is a lot closer, which is nice because they got some techie stuff that is helpful to be nearby. Orville doesn't have as much. But yeah, Chico's got a bit more youth life to it. There's a bit more people there. Orville has a lot less youth, but it's probably just because there's no college in Orville and there's a college in Chico. So it's just like a PG channel. I've watched like half of his videos, but don't recall him saying anything. Yeah, I don't curse on camera. Off camera, it's a very different story. But for the sake of appealing to the largest common denominator of fans, is in I want anyone to be able to watch my content. I don't care how old you are or what you believe in or what you are and are okay with. I figured just keeping things PG makes things easier, means that you don't have to turn me off when your mom walks in the room, because there's a lot of younger kids watching, I'm sure. And it was just annoying for me growing up, because when I was growing up, I liked watching all these YouTubers, and all the YouTube channels I like to watch definitely curse. But when I was young, I would have to turn it off anytime my parents came in the room, because I was like, no, I'm not watching people curse all the time. So I just figured make it easier for everyone else and just not bother. Make a cage match review again, says Michael Salam. Thank you for super chatting, but my goodness, that after the Linus Tech Tips video, I'd honestly be kind of concerned about making another kind of hardcore Apple Sheep rant video, because it seems like when I do that, I get met with 30 different response videos, and then everyone asks me to make response videos, and it kind of gets tiring, this kind of loop. Why do you think your Samsung ad react got so many dislikes? It's not so many dislikes as it is disagrees, just people not agreeing with me, so they hit dislike, which I expected. A lot of people like Samsung, and I was saying not the nicest things about Samsung in that video. I don't hate them. I didn't have nice things to say about the ad because I didn't think the ad made too much sense. So response videos are always funny. So see, some people like response videos and other people claim they're unoriginal. They're like, why don't you just make your own topics? Why do you keep reacting to everything else? But it's like, making my own topics is just talking about the news and about rumors that everyone else is already talking about. How is that more original than engaging in a discussion between YouTubers? So I don't know. Yeah, I heard people say that Linus was going to make a response video. That's kind of what motivated me to make another follow-up video, because I was like, okay, if Linus makes a video, then I better have a more accurate, agreeable response. So no, you can never please everyone, but you should try to please the vast majority, I think, for the most part. And to me, you kind of have to make a decision a lot of the time of who you want to prioritize. Do you want to prioritize what you want your content to be, or do you want to prioritize what the fans want you to make, or do you want to prioritize what type of content you can put ads on yourself via in-video sponsorships and stuff like that? So you kind of have to make that decision for yourself. Not one decision is better than all the rest. But if you're able to pick one of those and it works for you, I say go for it. But yeah, I mean, if someone's doing something like doing the in-video ad reads and you're not a fan of it, and it's working for them, then great. But don't go off forcing them that they don't need it. Anyway, thoughts on Samsung maybe bringing a notch? Yeah, I saw that. That was funny. That would surprise me, because Samsung's usually pretty stubborn about what they don't do that the rest of the industry does, but they eventually cave. It's not the first time Samsung would cave and give into something that they said they wouldn't do. Like the Galaxy S5 and S4, they're like, see, we have removable batteries. You can swap out batteries, and we have expandable storage. Then when the Galaxy S6 came along, they ditched removable batteries and they ditched removable storage. So much so that people were so upset about it that with the S7, they brought back expandable storage, but not the replaceable battery life. So it's not to say that Samsung doesn't change their mind on things. They do. So it's possible that they may be like, well, everyone's doing a notch, we might as well do one, even though we made fun of Apple for having a notch. So yes, they have expandable storage now, but my point is they did remove it. Obviously, Apple has a notch now, but my guess is one day the notch will be removed as well. So we can look at removing waterproofing and removing expandable storage and removing swappable batteries. Those are all things Samsung removed. Yes, some of them may have came back, but they still removed them, as in it is possible that Samsung may cave and say, let's just go forward with the notch. People seem to like that. Hopefully, yeah, I'd like to see any other Android company, any other company really, to make a phone that does what the 10 did and have a same size bezel all the way around. It seems like no one else wants to attempt that. I don't use physical media. No, I've never really been a fan. If I can get it digital, I will. I don't really collect DVDs or Blu-rays or vinyls or anything like that. Do you plan to keep Tailosive Foods and Tailosive Productions? They have plans for the future, but they're not priority right now. No, there won't be another iPod Touch. I will be shocked if there's another iPod Touch. If they finally, after all these years, refresh the iPad Mini, I can be like, okay, I get it. A lot of people wanted that. Like a lot of people wanted the new iPhone SE, and that ended up happening. We got a new iPhone SE, but it could go either way, to be honest. Was Apple just not decrypting phones for the FBI? I believe so, but I'm not going to pretend I know a lot about the subject. So I'm sorry, CSF, but I don't know too much about that. Apologize. But Blu-ray has better sound and image quality. Yeah, but it costs a lot more. Usually I watch a movie once, like every 4 months. I don't watch the same movie over and over again. So why would I pay $20 for something that I watch for 2 hours when you can rent it for $4 or $1 if it's on Netflix or Amazon? I mean, you can view them now in 4K and stuff. So I mean, what's the point? Night Tiger super chatted says, I completely understand the Apple boxes. As a fellow Apple sheep, I do the same exact thing. Sent you a picture on Twitter. P.S. No iPod refresh, please. Yeah, I'm looking at your picture on Twitter, Night Tiger, right now. You got quite the collection going. I like the black MacBook Air box. Looks really, really cool. Yeah, it's funny to see I've inspired people via my collection to start collecting themselves. It's cool to see everyone's collection grow and grow. Yeah, they're cool. Collecting Google boxes would be less interesting. I have a couple growing collection, but they're also boring. Same with the Galaxy boxes. They're all S6, S7, S8, S9. They're all so similar. Yeah, iPad Mini Pro. That would be interesting. If Linus mentions you in his video, will you be happy? I'll just be happy that he saw me or at least heard of me, because he does have 4 writers. He might have no idea what he's talking about when he's talking in videos. You only have 3 channels and 4 writers. I don't know what Linus thinks of when he's doing his videos. I don't know. He may be told to say everything he's saying. So I don't know. I would still be very happy if I made an appearance just like that. Even if it was in negative light, I would just be like, that's how much influence I have. That's so cool. B. Roy says, what are your thoughts on theaters maybe closing? So that's a bit more movie reviews related, but I'll give you a little answer because you did super chat. So personally, every time I go to the movies now, there's some issue I have to deal with, whether it's another person or people being too loud or the food is expensive. So I'm kind of understanding the lack of interest in movie theaters. Yes, there's something powerful and magical kind of about going into a big theater. And if you go into a theater packed with a crowd that's really into the movie that's about to happen or is really excited to see, it can be really great, but I think that's a very small percentage of the movie theater experience, the amount of people who actually have a enjoyable movie viewing. But nowadays we're getting to the point where our TVs are very detailed and rich, and we don't really need that giant of a projector. We can have home theater setups where we have speakers that get really loud. So, it's just, yeah, I don't know. I can see it going away. There will definitely be something to be missed. And I think a lot more people only go to the movie theaters for big movies, whether it's a Marvel film or a Star Wars film. They go to the movies like 2 to 3 times a year. So yeah, I can kind of understand why it's going away. It makes more sense that it becomes more of an in-home experience, Netflix originals. They'd have to come up with something really clever to kind of keep it around. Maybe like more interesting ways people could eat while watching the movie, or I don't know, maybe allow headphones so that other people talking isn't as big a problem. Or my favorite YouTube channel, Red Letter Media, recently came up with this idea with, why don't they make candy that's silent? Instead of all these like plastic and when you're eating in the movie theater, what if they packed candy into little like cotton bags, just like a little bag with twine. You just undo the twine, grab your candy. There's no noise, doesn't bother anyone else watching the movie. He got that idea because of A Quiet Place, which me and my friend Dan did a movie review on. If you haven't checked that out, please do. Anyway, Hans Peter Braun super chatted, This $5 is for the fun I had watching your Linus React video. Keep going. By the way, you are far too nice to these morons painfully in front page. Oh, they're not morons. Don't say that, Hans. I appreciate the super chat, but no, we can be nice to them. We don't have to call them morons. They just have different ideas. They just have different ideas. Now they're Dogmaster is tagging me on Twitter. Mo, my question is, if there's like, you can look at the crew section of Linus Tech Tips. I'm not saying he's an idiot. I'm just saying if there's 4 people whose job is to write for the channel, what does Linus do? If you have 4 writers, and I assume they're full time, what do 4 full time writers have to do if you're uploading like 1 to 2 videos a day? I don't know. I'm not saying he's wrong. I mean, if I could come up with a job in which I basically have to do nothing and I just show up and read the script. Linus talked about me in his video, I would be like, well, he might not know who I am. He might be reading the script, and he didn't see my video at all. But yeah, let's not be mean to each other. We're not trying to say Linus is an idiot or Painfully Honest Tech. I've been on both Front Page Tech's channel and Painfully Honest Tech's channel. They're great guys. I have nothing but nice things to say about them. Let's not turn this into more annoying drama. Why did you say Orville is boring? I live there and it is beautiful. Oh, it's a beautiful place, but the people kind of start to ruin that for you. If you ever walk downtown late at night, you'll understand. But yeah, Linus is always busy. Yeah. I mean, my point of that video was not that Linus Tech Tips is an idiot. My point was Linus was in the wrong, as in Apple is not required to repair the iMac. I think they were completely in the right to say, no, I mean, you know what a repair team does at an Apple store? You drop something, they look at it and go, okay, I'm going to take off the part that's broken and replace it with the replacement part. That's not the situation. They didn't know how many things were wrong with it. You can see in the email they were responding to Apple, power supply wasn't working, potentially the motherboard wasn't working. So Apple's repair store isn't like, so we asked you not to take apart the computer. You ripped it apart. And not only that, you ripped it apart and dropped individual pieces and you put it together wrong. And now it's our problem because you did something we asked you not to do. No, Apple does not have to fix that. They're not required to be like, oh yeah, you screwed up your computer because you have no idea what you're doing. Allow us to take all the time out of our precious schedule of fixing iPhone displays and iPad displays and MacBook batteries, Apple Watch batteries, throw all that out the window so that we can work on your 5 million subscriber channel because you guys don't know how to put a computer together. Why is that up to Apple? And if it's up to the third parties, they probably just don't have the spare parts that doesn't go directly to Apple. Anyway, we're getting back into this. Matt Austin says, I unsubscribed from Linus because the sponsorships were really annoying me. Like the studio tour he did was ruined because of the stupid Dyson sponsorship. See, I recently talked a lot about sponsorships on Tailosive Talks on the most recent Hello World episode. So if you want to hear my thoughts on that, check them out there. But on top of that, I think it's important to remember that if something's working for someone, let's not advise that they do it differently, especially if you're not really in a place to, because I think an issue I'm kind of running into is people are like, well, Drew, you don't have sponsors and you're jealous of Linus because he has sponsors, or your channel would be doing a lot better if you did sponsorships. And I'm like, the channel's doing fine. Okay, we're making our money. We're growing at an incredible rate. We're growing past lots of other YouTube channels that have been doing this for far longer than I have. And you guys are allowing this channel to grow. You guys are making it possible. And in my opinion, maybe I should do this, but if I ran a poll on Twitter that said, would you guys rather have ads for free, pay to have 0 ads, or pay to have a couple ads, or would you rather not pay anything and have extra ads? I think most people would be okay with the idea of paying a little bit and having 0 ads. I think that's kind of what a lot of, at least my audience, caters to, is how can we watch content without there being any bullcrap in the way? Like, there's a video about the blue iPhone. I want to hear about that. There's a video about the next SE. I want to hear about that. I didn't click on this video hoping to be redirected to a different website. And if I did, I'd stop watching your content. So why would you recommend that? Like, hey, come watch my video. Come watch my video and watch my content. Now go check them out. Okay, I'll go check them out. Now we're going to talk about the video you originally clicked on for. I think it throws off the whole flow that I think is so beautiful about YouTube. That's been working so far for me. Okay, you guys have been very generous, and the fans have been very generous with how many people are watching. And yeah, like a lot of people don't realize this. Maybe people who watch Linus more regularly don't mind ad reads, but I'm noticing a lot of people, especially in this live stream, are saying that they unsubscribed from Linus because that was bothering them. They were like, I didn't want to sit through all these ads to watch to the main point. So if that's the case, then I'm glad I cater to that audience specifically. That there's a type of audience that's like, look, we have ads before YouTube videos play anyway. Luckily, there's a YouTube Red subscription service that means I don't have to watch those ads. But if I were to do in-video sponsorships, you guys would, even if you paid for YouTube Red, you'd have to put up with ads. So I think plenty of people hate it. So it makes sense to if we can live without it, let's live without it. And I'm not saying I'll never do ad reads, I'll never do sponsorships, but you know, if we can grow the channel, if we can survive off of this just by your guys' generosity and the growth of the channel, how many people are watching, and you know, you don't have to be a Patreon supporter or a super chat or to support the channel. Just by watching, you're supporting. You guys are allowing us to stay sponsor free. So if we can keep it this way and cater to you guys who don't like having in video ad reads and like just getting straight to the point, not wasting any time, let's keep doing it. We're making it fine. We're growing fine. The money's fine. We're doing just fine. Especially thanks to giant super chatters, you know, like Bradley Niles. Thank you, Bradley, for your support. So let's not mess with that. I'm not gonna look at it as, well, I'm making a lot of money and I'm doing just fine, but we could be making more money. So let's make even more money. No, you guys are like number one priority for me. In my opinion, making good content that you guys enjoy is priority. It's not, personally, I don't think making a ton of money is what dignifies a good YouTuber. In fact, I think a YouTuber should prioritize having a passion for his content and wanting to make the best content possible for his fans, not how can he get the most money out of his fans via throwing ad reads at them. So anyway, we could answer probably a couple more tech questions, but we got to be wrapping it up. We got to be wrapping it up here pretty quick. So yes, I do monetize the live streams. I do. Should I get a Touch Bar MacBook Pro or just without a Touch Bar? I say wait. You're less than a month away from a refresh. Everything Apple Pro said this year's iPhone 10 silver, same price with the silvery, same price with the 10 Plus will be $100 more. Yeah, we don't know. It could go either way right now, and there's been no real evidence to prove that. I edit school films at 4K at 60 thanks to my iPhone 8 Plus. With my MacBook Air on Final Cut Pro, it can kind of edit, but it takes an hour and a half to export a 5-minute video. Please send help. I'm sorry, you're going to need a newer laptop if you're upset that your MacBook Air can't edit 4K at 60 very good. It's amazing that it's not dead. The fact that your MacBook Air can handle that at all, that's amazing. My 12-inch MacBook can't edit 13K at 90 FPS. What's the problem? Yeah, you got to uncheck the lag box in Final Cut settings. That'll fix everything. Just go to, I think it's under Edit, Preferences, Lag, turn off lag, and then everything works perfectly fine every time. It's great. Oh, I think we got our last super chat for today because we're over our hour. But Christopher Morazzo, you're, I think, the last super chatter of the evening, who says, how do you feel about the Your Phone versus iPhone and the Your Store versus App Store Apple commercials? So yeah, some people were tagging me and they were like, Drew, you wanted better Apple ads. Look, they're doing them. And I'm like, they're exactly the same as the other ads, which are just, this is, if you use an Android phone, the App Store sucks because it explodes in your face. So switch to the iOS App Store because it doesn't explode in your face. And it's like, okay. Does that change anyone's mind? Did anyone watch that and go, yeah, good point, Apple, time to buy an iPhone? I don't know. It's a quick little ad. It's not probably meant to convince anyone. It's just a little cute little Apple has a film studio and they film things in it and whatnot. So there you go. Anyway, oh, Joshua Maxwell. Never mind. He took it from you, Christopher. I'm sorry. Joshua Maxwell is now the last super chat of the evening. So thank you guys very much for all of your donations. We had a lot today. So much to be thankful for. You guys, you super chatters, and the people that watch as much of my content as possible between Tailosive Tech, Tailosive Talks, Tailosive Gaming, Tailosive Movie Reviews, all that good stuff. You guys are the people oh no, Christopher. Christopher took it back and said nope. You guys are the people making us ad-free. You're allowing for this content to be as quick and to the point as possible. You're allowing us to grow, hire more people, expand this network, and hopefully Alex Thomas is now the last super chat. Oh no, you all thought wrong, said Night Tiger. Any hopes for iOS 12? All right, dark mode. I like the idea of the aerial version for older phones that makes it more clean. Oh my goodness. Kristen, Yi Hirasawa, Ethan Merritt, Michael Carroll. Everyone's is in a super chatting war. Thank you, everyone. So I guess Michael is now the last super chatter. But yeah, I just wanted to thank all of you super chatters, even the people at the last minute, even if it's a tiny 99 cents and YouTube takes half of the money out of it. Joshua is now the last one. What have I done? All of the super chat war is like the best thing for me, honestly. It's like great. And the audience, to be honest. You guys, when there's a super chat war, it just means we're a little bit further away from me telling you more about Audible. Ethan Merritt, Christopher says, you're welcome for starting the war. Great. This is how we should end every live stream, with how many times we can squeeze out super chats from everyone. Alex Thomas is now last. How long are we going to keep doing this, guys? Audible joke. Like, okay, wait, before I go, you brought that up. Look, in my heavily disliked Linus Tech Tips video, I was not making fun of the brands. I was making fun of the lack of segue support, as in it was just so slip, and everyone all of a sudden starts talking about something else, and I just feel like that didn't flow very naturally. I was making fun of that. I didn't say that, domainname.com or Squarespace is a bad website. I wasn't like Squarespace sucks or PaySquare or Audible sucks. I didn't say Audible sucks. I was just making fun of the fact that it didn't transition very easily. Anyway, now the last super chat. Brondo says, love your channel. That's Mexico money, so not $200, about $12. Thanks for your content. Brondo, thank you very much for the last minute super chat. Okay, I think we can call it now. Brondo is the last one. I appreciate all of you. And I'm going to try to be more consistent with the live streams, obviously, because you guys are very generous during these. Also going to get back to work on the next tech video. And yeah, please, if you haven't yet, check out Tailosive Talks, Gaming, Movie Reviews, all that stuff. Anyway, I'm stretching out too much. I'm stretching out too much of the live stream. So congratulations to Brondo. So anyway, this is your Apple Sheep here, and I will see you in the next one. Have a great evening. Oh, God. Ignacia Orinda. College MacBook Air or iPad Pro with accessories? For college, just stick with the iPad Pro with accessories. It's cheaper than the MacBook Air. The MacBook Air sucks. It has aluminum bezels. Anyway, congratulations to Ignacia. Good night, everyone. Take care.